Hey guys, thanks for joining us for this 117th episode in Season 2 of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. Special guests on this episode include actor Dominic Burgess. He plays Jerry Summers in Dr. Death, which is available now on Peacock. We'll also visit with writer and actress Siobhan Fallon Hogan. Has a new movie, Rushed, which will be available in theaters and on demand August 27th. Of course, if you would, please take the time to subscribe, comment, leave some feedback, check out the shop, and share with your friends. Would like to say thanks to our sponsor for today's episode, Smiley's Breezy Vapes at 313 Falcon Road in Altus, Oklahoma. They've got new hardware, plus the largest selection of disposable flavors in Southwest Oklahoma. If you ever have a question, you can call or text 580-471-VAPE. And don't forget to check out Wacky Wednesdays. They'll spin the wheel for savings just for you. Now, if Monty Hall was alive and he walked up to random people and asked if they had a can of Pringles on them, 7 in 10 people might say yes. According to a new poll, Americans love snacks so much that 69% of people say they always bring some kind of snack with them when they're on the go. 51% say they fill up on snacks as an entire meal at least 3 times a week. And 53% said they'd swap out an unhealthy snack for a healthier one if there were more options available at a similar price point. Of course, that surely depends on what the healthier choice would be, because 6 out of 10 people said their first choice of snack is packed with sugar or salt, and the most popular choices: potato chips, chocolate, and candy. Of course, you've heard about the podcast, The True Story itself as well, Dr. Death. We're going to talk about the highly anticipated limited series that is available to stream on Peacock. And with that, we've got Dominic Burgess with us today. And first off, Dominic, appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule, brother.
Oh, no. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it so much.
Now tell us, Dr. Death, did you know about Dr. Death before being a part of the show, or did you have to do some extensive research once you got the role?
I did not know about Dr. Death. I got the audition and was told, hey, it's a true story. It's based off this doctor who was injuring and maiming his patients. There's a podcast. Go listen to the podcast. And so I tore through the podcast before my audition and was sort of blown away that a doctor could be operating and injuring people and no one was stopping him. So, oh my gosh, yeah, it was really eye-opening for me too, because I had no idea.
And when you come in and you're playing the role of Jerry Summers, the childhood friend of Dr. Death himself, how much pressure do you put on yourself as you take on an actual real human being role, if you will?
Yeah, that's right. I played Jerry Summers, and he was Chris's best friend. They went to college together. They played football together, and Jerry was, Chris's right-hand man. He would drive him around. He helped him set up his business, and he was this big, gregarious, fun-loving, friendly, warm, open guy. And for me, that was the entry point to playing Jerry, was making sure that, he's a real person. He actually passed away in February of this year, but making sure that, he's not just portrayed as a doofus who isn't really aware. He loved Chris, and I think the way that I wanted to portray him was that he was manipulated by Chris just as much as anyone else. And so for me, it was loyalty and friendship that was the anchor point, and that was, I think, the most important aspect for me to get across in playing Jerry. Because then I think once he does go under Chris's knife and things do take a turn, I think it's all the more heartbreaking, seeing that journey play out.
And Dominic, as we've all been through so much, we've gone through so many emotions this last year. It seems like most of the releases that are coming out are feel good releases. What was your thoughts working Dr. Death, especially coming out of pandemic, and the response that you've gotten? Have you been surprised by it?
Gosh, yeah, we filmed this over winter in New York, sort of in the height of the pandemic. It's funny. Originally, it was going to be shot months and months earlier, but everything was put on hold. But yeah, the experience of filming it in a pandemic was very odd too. We had to change a lot of things. Normally, you're on a set, and you're talking with people and interacting and really getting to know the cast and crew. And this was very different in terms of coming to set and filming and then being sort of ushered away to your own private corner, away from everyone else in a mask and a shield. So it was a very sort of isolated way to work and film too. But I think that lends itself to the show because it is so dark and grim that when you see Joshua Jackson playing this guy who is so cold and focused and narcissistic, I think it lends itself to, a lot of the time when you get on set during the pandemic, the only time you get to see the other actors is when they're in character. And so coming down and just seeing Josh in that mode is kind of scary. So I hope that comes across on screen.
Dominic, this last year, I mean, we've all had time to ourselves, and as you've adjusted, evolved for the pandemic, what do you think you have pulled most from this last year that you're going to take moving forward as well?
Gosh, I have had a lot of downtime. I've been very fortunate that I've been able to work, on Dr. Death, and then I've just been filming in Puerto Rico and Colombia. So I think for me, it's just a sense of how fortunate I am to do what I love, and knowing that, that there are a lot of people who aren't as fortunate as I am. So, just gratitude, I think, that I was able to continue working and writing and being creative during this time, and not to take anything for granted. And, hand in hand with Dr. Death and this show is, not taking my health for granted. And I think that goes hand in hand with the pandemic as well. Just being grateful that I'm able to do what I love and be healthy.
There you go. And again, the highly anticipated limited series, Dr. Death, you can stream it on Peacock. And of course, Dominic, always want to make sure and let our listeners know where they can keep up with everything you've got going social media wise as well.
Yeah, I'm at Dominic Burgess on Twitter, and I'm at Dominic Burgess 1 on Instagram. And there's a whole lot of cats on there. Oh, I hope you like cats.
That's good stuff. Well, again, Dominic, it has been great to visit with you, and looking forward to watching more episodes of Dr. Death, and hopefully we can catch up again real soon.
Great. Thank you so much.
Now, if there's still a title for fastest gun in the West, this guy might deserve consideration for his duel with a kitchen appliance. An unnamed man in Washington state was placing aluminum cans in his fridge last Saturday when one of them exploded. Now, he was startled and immediately pulled the pistol out of his waistband and fired a round into the bottom of the fridge. That alarmed some neighbors, and the cops were called. They found the guy yelling incoherently in an alleyway. He told the police that the people who live in the basement wanted to kill him and that they'd shot at him, so he fired back in self-defense. There's just one small problem with that. No one lives in a basement below the man. In fact, there is no basement at all. The man was arrested for second-degree unlawful possession of a firearm and discharge of a firearm. Excited to have Siobhan
Fallon Hogan.
Siobhan Fallon Hogan. I was like, I got the first name out. I was like, well, there goes the rest of it. But Siobhan, I feel like we've known each other for years. I'm sure a lot of folks tell you that whenever they see you face to face. But first off, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show.
Thanks for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Now, do you want to talk about this new movie called Rushed? And this one has kind of been in the pipeline for a minute. I know you've had some feedbacks from some friends and other actors as well. Excited about this one. And Siobhan, tell us how excited to have a movie on right now.
I am beyond thrilled. I started writing Rushed about 3 years ago, and we filmed it a year ago, September. 2 years ago. But of course, with COVID, everything got pushed. So it's a thriller, and it's about a mom from upstate New York, Irish Catholic. I just happen to be from there, and I am Irish Catholic. So anyway, and whose son gets involved in a fraternity hazing incident, and she tries to go take the high road, but when the high road doesn't work, she seeks revenge. So it's a real psychotic revenge thriller.
Now, where did the inspiration for this come for you? Was it real life circumstances that inspired it, or?
No, but I have 3 kids. So, and they're now, one teenager and 2 in their 20s. And I think most mothers, if they have kids like mine anyway, spend many years in the fetal position, worried at night when they go out on a Friday or Saturday or Thursday or whatever, wondering, are they okay? Are they okay? Especially when they go off to college, because you have no control anymore. But this movie has a lot of humor in it too, even though there's, it's very sad and it's thrilling and it's crazy. But because, the Irish Catholics have a very funny way of looking at things. And the mother is a helicopter mom, unlike anyone I know, who, first kid goes off to college and she's driving him crazy. So there's a lot of humor and it kind of has everything. So that's where the and there's a lot of incidents in the country that I'd read about. So that's where the inspiration come from.
And working with Robert on this one as well. I mean, to have another seasoned professional as well. I mean, how cool is it to work with Robert? And I know, like we mentioned before, excited from the feedback that you've been getting. Well,
Robert Patrick I've worked with him so many times. I did a movie with him 1,000 years ago. I played his sister in Striptease. And then we've been worked on TV together. And so when I called him up, I sent him the script. He's like, I'm in. And, he's been in The Terminator. He's been, he was the father in Walk the Line. He works all the time. He's superb in the movie. He plays my husband and he's beyond great. And I've been getting unbelievable feedback, which is amazing. We have it on all those YouTubes and everything. And there's like so many hits and the comments are great. But I sent it to a lot of directors that I've worked with, like Andy Davis, who directed The Fugitive. He directed Holes. And he said, Siobhan, I can't get over it. Because what I did was we filmed it in my hometown in Rumson, New Jersey, where I live now. And everybody gave us their mansions and their, cars. My neighbor gave me his pickup truck. Everybody pitched in. And he's like, where did you get the extras? Because there's this one scene with a senator. And, I hobnob with the hoi polloi, but I also hobnob with, anybody and everybody. So I got everyone I knew to play every scene right, the store owner. I got my priest. I got, this guy who owns a farm. So all the locations are amazing and all the extras are amazing. So it just really came together. It's a miracle, really.
Now, the timing on the release, Rushed, kind of goes along with the hazing going in on fraternity, sorority type stuff, getting ready for the back to school. I mean, timing's perfect here.
Yeah. Well, Vertical Entertainment bought it back in the fall and they said, we want to hold it till the kids go back to school. And so August 27th, they'll go back. And I've gotten, people from the trailer sent me letters, texts. They're like, I'm so afraid for my kid to go back to school. I was like, look, your kids have a good head on their shoulders. Don't worry about it. But, but everybody loves a thriller and everybody loves to be scared to death, I think, sometimes in a movie. But yeah, the timing really, August 27th, it'll be released in movie theaters and on all the video platforms. Apple, I'm such an old dinosaur. I say this. I said to Vertical, I go, what in God's name am I supposed to be saying when they said, say all video platforms, Apple, iTunes, Amazon, all of them. So anyway, so it'll be on there as well.
You talk about being a
dinosaur.
A dinosaur. I was trying to be kind. I'll let you say it yourself. That's all right. How much has things changed over the course of your career, the way things are dealt with, and how much has social media changed the game?
Oh, it's it's so insane. This is so eye-opening to me because, kids, they really prefer to stream movies, I think. Well, then COVID hit and families all bought these big flat screen TVs and they like to watch at home. So going to the theaters is people have gotten out of the habit. It's like bowling. It's like you go like once a year, unless you're a bowler. I don't want to brag, but I was on the bowling team in 5th grade. But I smelled like cigarette smoke so much at that time, talk about how things change, that I had to stop because my mother's like, I can't keep washing your clothes. I have too many kids. You reek of smoke when you come out of the bowling alley and you're only in 5th grade. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, social media is crazy. And this, my son is actually doing a lot of the social media, and we have PR people that are doing social media, Andy Hoagland, who you know, and Prodigy, and it's crazy. They have all these platforms, and overnight we have 100,000 hits. It's nuts. So I'm just praying to God that it will do well and people will go see it.
Now, as everybody's dealt with so many emotions this last year as well, that's one of the things when I was watching the trailer, not only the back to school time, but also where people are emotionally. I think this really pulls the right strings as well. Yes.
Well, when I did the film, we edited it in France because I knew nothing about post-production. And we were on the woman who directed, Vibeke Musaya, she's Danish, because this film is co-produced with Lars von Trier, because I've done 3 films with Lars in Denmark. I did Dancer in the Dark with Bjork. I did with Nicole Kidman and Ben Gazzara and Lauren Bacall, Dogville. And then I just did The House that Jack Built with Matt Dillon. So when I wrote the script, what did I know? I sent it over to Denmark. I said, what do you think of this? And they called me the next day and they said, we want to co-produce this with you. So this all ties into the emotion that you have. I'm not skipping over the question, but so I just have a little ADHD. I'm not diagnosed, but I definitely have it. So at the second to last day of the shoot, we drove from New Jersey to upstate to get the outside foliage scenes. And the director from Denmark said, Siobhan, we have an A-list director, an A-list movie, but we don't have an A-list editor. I was like, wait, let me think. I've been in this business long enough. I was like, I did a film with Johnny Depp that my friend Wayne Roberts directed, and there was a French editor who used to call me, so I'm going to call her Sabina Miliani. She ends up editing it. Loved it. But so talking about emotion, the emotion for me started, like everybody else, with COVID. We finished editing. I flew home March 1st. I'm like, I'm going back to Denmark now because the editing was in France. The sound edit was in Denmark. March 13th. Well, the plane was canceled. So we did everything remotely. It was insane. With Christian Eidnes Andersen, the world-renowned composer that does all Lars's movies. And then, selling the movie, that I thought that was the worst. I was like in the fetal position for the entire month of October. I was like, please let this sell. I owe a lot of friends and family money. So that was insane. And then now it's kind of like this crazy high because, I'm doing PR round the clock, and then we're getting ready for the premiere. So, it's like, I don't even know what to liken it to. I guess it's kind of like when you get married. I thought this is like doing 10 weddings. It's just I'm so hyper. I can't even sleep. It's a good thing this is a podcast because if you saw my face, you'd know it.
Yeah, I know, right? As a writer, as you approach the premiere and all that stuff, how do you look at that differently as a writer as opposed to starring in a movie as well?
It is so different. First of all, it's easier as an actress when you go to play the role because you've been writing it and been living with it for so long. It was also easy when I had a table read through to say, oh, this works, that doesn't work. When I go, look at this is like, listen, the pressure is on. I'm the writer, I'm the producer, which means I owe a lot of people some dinero, and I'm an actress in it. But I know that it's great because I've seen it so many times, and I've heard the reactions. I'm not patting myself on the back, and when I say that there's a miracle involved here. Listen, my father and my mother are both in heaven. My mother passed at 96 in March, and she's like, Siobhan, years ago, she's like, let me tell you something. She's like, cream rises to the top. And she saw the movie on my laptop, and she's like, this movie's top shelf. So I feel really confident in the movie. So I'm just glad to kind of get to the finish line here. Then we need the numbers to come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you've got bills to pay.
We got bills to pay.
Now, who was the early inspiration on your acting, or who was it that maybe really motivated you, and when you're going through the hard times was still there, always helping you along? Who was that for you? My
mother and my father were unbelievable. I mean, really unbelievable. My father was the funniest person I've ever met in my life. And Bill Fallon, his name was, he was a lawyer from upstate New York. He went to the same college I went to. He made me go there, Lemoyne College in Syracuse. And he was like my biggest fan. And so was my mother. Now, my father, he was hysterical. And people said he should have taken it on the road, but he was a little more practical. He used to call me in New York City when I was struggling. He'd say, Siobhan, why don't you come back home and start a dinner theater? And my mother would be like, no, Siobhan, you got what it takes. But I remember when I got on Saturday Night Live, and it was, extremely competitive. And I go down to New York and there's all these girls. And of course they have to torture you. They don't tell you right away. And everybody went out with the cast, it's like Dana Carvey and Adam Sandler, and Chris Rock, we're all out. And they're kind of like, Siobhan, I think you're the one. Anyway, so they told us at like 7:00 in the morning. So I call home to upstate. My mother's like, oh, geez, your father's golfing. So I call him and they're like, oh, Siobhan, we think he's on the, everybody knows everybody in Casanova, where I'm from. And they're like, we think he's on the, the seventh hole. They go out and they get him. They bring him in. There's no cell phones in those days. I was like, Dad, guess what? I got on Saturday Night Live. He goes, out of sight, Siobhan, out of sight. I'll call you later. I got to get back to my golf game. They were always totally there for me, and my sisters too, and my husband and my family, my kids, And then there's people, like Robert Patrick, like that is a loyal friend. I mean, for him to do this movie, he's a big deal. And for him to say, and Jake Weary, these guys are, Jake's like at the top of his career at Animal Kingdom. He's killing it. And then I had friends, Ellen Cleghorn, my roommate from Saturday Night Live. My neighbor, what's happening to me? She was in it. Perry Gilpin, who I did play with 1,000 years ago. She was, in Frasier, she was Roz. I called everybody up. They're like, we're in. We trust you. I had no idea that it was like a possibility that it wouldn't be good. And then when we got back from France and Denmark, and I did like a screening for the investors and my family, my sister Sheila said, after the movie, oh my God, I almost didn't come. I thought if this is bad, I can't take it. To which I repeated the story to an investor and he said, me too. It never entered my mind. And I think because literally, I've been acting for, my God, 35 years. I really grabbed the cream of the crop. I grabbed Vibeke Messiah, the best director, the best editors, our cinematographer, Matthias Schubert, I'd worked with before. He's amazing. All the actors are unbelievable. And I believe in this European method, which Lars von Trier does, which is, it's like a play. There's no above the line or below line. There's no divas. We're all in this together, the crew. I mean, I had friends, I'd be like, hey, anybody got any extra rooms? I had people living all over town. I mean, it was really unbelievable.
This maybe changed your expectations as you work on future projects now that you've seen how this has gone. I mean, and how has that made me, I know how creatives are, they face the challenges, always wondering, am I good enough? Am I, all that stuff, get that acceptance from the others as well, to be a part of it. I mean, that's got to also motivate you, right?
Absolutely. But here's the deal. My one gift that I was given, I don't know why. My father told me I had unearned effervescence. And so I don't care about people. I do care about, I love them, but I don't care what they think of me. So, and also you see, because it's an independent film, I don't have to listen to anyone else. I can trust my own judgment. And honestly, when I was younger, I was like, what do they think of me? But now I could care less. I know what's good. I'm doing another film after this, literally a month today, which Robert Patrick's going to be in. Dan Castellaneta, Homer Simpson, the voice of Homer Simpson. He's a friend of mine for years. He's going to be in it. And I'm following the exact same formula. Everybody's going to live with friends. It's going to be, I have so many of the same crew coming back. You know that you've done a good job if the actors are back on board and the crew is back on board. Because, people can say, oh, they know how to run a classy deal. She's a nice person. But if the crew guy is like, hey, listen, I'm back. And there are so many of them that are back. I hate to say icky things, but it's almost like a family. Like, I'm so loyal to the people that were there for me from the beginning. I will always keep them with me. You know what I mean?
As we come out of the summer for you, how different is maybe your 2020 vision going forward the rest of 2021, moving into 2022? Did goals have to shift as a result of pandemic for you?
Well, honestly, because here's the deal. It's weird because of the theaters, because streaming, according to the distributors, is a bigger deal than the theaters.
Wow.
So some people are still afraid to go. We're opening on the 27th. We had to add shows because it's going to be so packed at the premiere, and it's going to be, in different states and everything. We've had to add shows. There's been that much response. Now, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, people are talking about this Delta variant. I mean, I'm so sick of it, and as everyone else is, it's so horrible. So if streaming is it, streaming it is, you know what I mean? But we're going plugging on, and we're doing another one. And I just feel like if this is the new normal, I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to keep working and want to keep making movies and, living the life fantastic.
You're not changing who you are. We're just evolving, right?
Exactly. This too shall pass. We have to be patient. One thing I'm terrible at, being patient.
Yeah, I'm the worst with patience as well. So that's now, Siobhan, if folks want to find more info about Rushed and about the other upcoming projects that you've got coming as well, where's the best place to keep up with everything?
Well, if they just Google Rushed movie 2021 or Rushed, make sure you put the ED on it, because I think there's another one called Rushed ED movie, or go to IMDb for Rushed. You can watch the trailer, and you can read all about it if you go to Rushed Movie Coming Soon. There's a big article about it, or Syracuse.com. There's a lot of articles about it. And then it will be out August 27th. And I beg your listeners for support, and I promise you'll love it. It's an hour and 40 minutes. It keeps you on the edge of your seat the entire time. And it's a great movie.
You see a lot of feedback from time to time. And whenever I saw the feedback from Patton Oswalt, and for whatever reason, I don't know what that says about me, but whenever I saw that Patton gave the representation that he did, I was like, I'm in.
That guy, Patton, this is crazy. I was on a Zoom talking about a movie during the pandemic with the Rosenthals. Phil Rosenthal, did Everybody Loves Raymond. Lily Rosenthal's in the movie. She plays my daughter.
Oh, wow.
So during the pandemic, they did these Sunday night Zooms, and they were talking about Ratatouille. My kids are huge fans of Patton. So they come on. My daughter, who's 19, my other son who's 23, my 26-year-old wasn't there. And Patton IMs me, if that's what it's called. It's on my computer, like it lights up.
Right.
Siobhan, now can you imagine this? He says, I'm a huge fan. He said, I also used to be roommates with this guy that I used to know. So it was like we were in high school. It was like we were cheating under the table, like slipping notes back and forth in the room. I was like, shut up. How is he doing, this roommate? Anyway, so we started keeping in touch. Turns out Patton just did a movie in Syracuse. The new movie I'm going to do at the end of September, a lot of that crew is going to work. Well, guess what they all had to say? Patton Oswalt is the greatest guy. We loved him. But so Patton, he has a huge following. So he's like, I sent him the movie because I wanted to see what he thought. And he just loved it. So yeah, that's pretty. And Lars von Trier, I got to tell you. So if people are familiar with the European films, and Matt Dillon, like I sent it to them, and Lars said, Siobhan, I haven't been able to get through a movie in 10 years. This is the first one I've been able to watch full. I loved it. Wow. So that was huge. So I just, I'm really really feel grateful as my head spins off my body.
Now, again, the release date, August 27th.
Friday, August 27th. It'll be in theaters. It'll be on streamers, video on demand, Apple, iTunes, Amazon, whatever all those things are that kids watch. Platforms. They're called platforms. I only do platform shoot. I couldn't stream a movie if my life depended on it.
That's awesome. Well, Siobhan, it has been a true privilege to have the chance to visit with you. I've truly enjoyed our time, and I look forward to the movie.
I really, really appreciate it. And honestly, send me an email or give me a call and let me know what you think of it when you see it.
I will. I will.
Really appreciate it. And thanks to all your listeners. I hope you come out and support us. Really do. Thanks a lot.
Do want to say thanks to our sponsor for today's podcast, Smiley's Breezy Vapes at 313 Falcon Road. Check out Wacky Wednesdays. They'll spin the wheel for your chance at great savings every Wednesday. Stop in and see them at 313 Falcon Road. Or if you have questions, you can call or text at 580-471-VAPE. That's 580-471-8273. Smiley's Breezy Vapes. Be sure and check him out on Facebook as well. Now, this would make deciding on lunch a whole lot easier. Taco Bell is running a contest and giving 100 people free tacos for a year. Now, it's for the 1-year anniversary of their loyalty program, and you have to be a rewards member to enter. So sign up for that first. Then go buy something in person and use their app to scan a barcode on your receipt to enter. And it runs through August 18th. Don't get too upset if you don't win, though. A year's worth of anything sounds like a lot, but we're talking about Taco Bell here. A year's worth means one free crunchy taco per day, or 365 total, so each prize is valued at $547.50. Well, thanks again for joining us for this 117th episode in Season 2 of Good Questions with Cameron Dole. If you ever have a comment, a question, maybe anything else you'd like to know, you can hit me up on the contact page at gqwithcam.com. You can also find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at gqwithcam. If you'd like to help out in the funding for this podcast, visit our merch store where we've got hoodies, shirts, mugs, tumblers, stickers, and more. That's gqwithcam.com/shop. If you have a special guest idea, email me, gqwithcam@gmail.com. Again, thanks to our sponsor for today's episode, Smiley's Breezy Vapes, and our good friend Brandon Allen for coming up with our theme music. We're going to let him play us out and hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in.